All right, I've lost about 300 subscribers over the past few days. I guess it's time to upload a new video. Let's get this started. I've been watching a lot of Mark over at Wood Whisperer, and for some reason it got in my head, but I had the skills he did. He's over there making these jewelry boxes, and man, they're spectacular. If you haven't seen it, head on over. I'll put a link down in my description. But man, he makes it look so easy. Well, I found out real quick it wasn't as easy to do it his way, so I changed it up halfway through this video, and I make it my way. This wood may look a little familiar. I used part of this wood to make the Bourbon Box a couple of weeks back, but now I want to use it for the jewelry box. On my last video where I made the jewelry box, I had somebody comment that they wish they had the skills to do this. I'm telling you guys, it's not as hard as it looks. Matter of fact, I'm certain that I could make one of these jewelry boxes in about 3 hours now. So that means that if you have no skill, you could probably make one of these in a day or so. I've also been asked where I got my woodworking skills from. It should be evident by now from watching my videos. I don't have any skill, but what I do have is ingenuity, and I got that in the military. We would deploy to all these places all over the world and we have nothing. We need to build stuff or make stuff. So we had to come up with ideas on how to do that because none of us had those skills. So you can learn to do whatever I do very easily. You just have to try it. So I'm resawing this piece for the bottom. You can see there's a bad spot in the wood right there in the corner, but I'm going to cut that out so it's not a big deal. Now that I've processed all the wood, it's square, it's flat, and it's almost a size, it's time for me to cut in 2 tenons on either side of this piece of pecan. So I'm going to switch out this blade for my box cutting blade. And what that does is does 2 things for me. It's going to give me a smooth cut when I'm hogging out that tenon. And number 2, it's going to give me a little wider of a cut because it's actually 2 blades put together. So here's why I'm stopping. I actually cut this side right here, which is the longer side of this tenon, and I got to do 1/4 of an inch one right there, so I need to set that to 1/4 of an inch, and then I can do the sides and the back side there. But I want to do this side first, so I got to measure and get it done. And here's where that lack of skill comes in, or laziness, or whatever you want to call it. What I should be doing here is using a stop block on the other side of the blade and putting the board up to it to get to my final depth and my sizing of the tenon. But I don't. I'm eyeballing it, which causes me to have to do a lot of repeat cuts. Now I could do this part on the router and I'd probably get a better cut to it, but it would take forever because I'd have to use a smaller bit. So I'm going to hog out the center of this box here by bumping the fence over a little bit and then cutting, bumping the fence over a little bit and cutting. So I hate small pieces. So I'm going to use this to try to stay off and see if it'll work. If not, it'll just screw this piece up and I'll have to find another piece. Hey, spoiler alert, I screwed this one up too. This one goes well. Although I thought I measured the mortise correctly, it's way off in the end, and you'll see what happens there. Look, I could edit this video and make this video magical, like I've had no mistakes, but that's not what we do here at MPC. So in the next scene, I pushed the piece of wood the wrong way. You're about to see how I screw that up completely. Here it is right here. I put it down on the wrong side, I push it down, and then I start pushing it across the router. And if you know anything about routers, they rotate one way and you're supposed to push it against that rotation. This is with the rotation. Boom, there it went out again. It was about this time where I realized that I'm gonna have to do something different because it just wasn't working out. This was my last piece of wood here. All right, let's stop. So, oh, here it is. These aren't gonna work out, these tenants, so I'm gonna change up what I'm doing on this thing. I kind of screwed all this up. I did stuff out of sequence. So I think I'm gonna put this one kind of aside for now. I may finish it for this video, but I went over and grabbed some scrap wood. I'm not really sure what this is. I think it's Bakota, and it is kind of badass looking. And I've got some pecan, whatever you want to call it. I think I'm going to use this for the sides of this, and then for the top I've got some of this cherry burl that I milled up a while back. I'm going to cut a piece out of there, and yeah, I think we're going to make a box, and we're going to make it a little bit different, so bear with me. There you go. We're going to switch up what we're doing. You're actually going to get 2 boxes out of one video. Isn't that great, ladies and gentlemen? This is the perfect example of repetition. I'll do something over and over until I get it right. This might be why my wife married me. Look, I know I'm not that good looking. I ain't got no money, but damn it, I am eager to please. So the last time we hogged out these boxes, I didn't give you a good view of it. So here you're going to see a time lapse of the first cut, and it takes a while. That Bakota is some hard stuff, and so is this cherry. So at the beginning of cutting this up, I forgot to put a little chamfer in each side of the box here, and that is so the lid will close and open. It also helps out when you have any kind of gaps along the front. That little chamfer is going to disguise it. So going back to the original box, I'm going to go ahead and cut off these tenons. And then what we'll do is we're just going to find a different piece of wood. I think I have some walnut, and we're going to use that walnut for the sides there to do this box. Anyone will tell you the worst part about woodwork is sanding. Yeah, some people get a kick out of it. They're sadists. It takes a lot, and it's uncomfortable. So this is a better stance for me. It's a lot more comfortable to sand like this. It's the motion I'm better suited for and used to. In woodworking, there are some situations where you're going to do certain things. And there's also similar situations you would think would work to do the same thing. But this is one of these situations that it's not going to work. I don't know why I use these clamps like this. It was doomed from the beginning. This is not the way to do this. Let's try this again. What this goes to show you is you don't have to get fancy with your clamps or whatever you have in your shop. Just basically slap it onto something, put some clamps on it, and it works fine. If I wanted a little space up under to have little legs coming down, I would have put a piece of wood up under that base. Like I said, you put a piece of wood up under the base. On this one, I wanted a little gap at the bottom, so I have little tiny legs, and I use this little 1/8" piece of plywood here. Look, guys, this ain't rocket science. This is woodworking. You don't have to have this super equation to be able to get the glue put on your piece and clamp it down. But I would remember to use a wet cloth to wipe off the excess glue, or you're going to be in a world of pain when it dries. I know it's a shock, but it's time for the finish. And on this box, we're going to use a wipe-on polyurethane. We're going to do 6 coats. This is a semi-gloss, and it's going to look really good. Once we're done with the polyurethane, what we're going to have to do is we're going to flock the inside of this box because I didn't like the look of it. So I'm going to use some of this black paint. If you remember in my last jewelry box, I used white glue and it didn't look that great. So I'm going to use black glue and it's going to help me get a better finish on this thing. Now, it's still not the greatest, but flocking is something I'm not used to. I'm going to get better at it in time, but man, it gives a little bit of elegance to a box and makes it pop for sure. For this box, we're going to use good old polyurethane spray-on. And I'll tell you what, this box is so beautiful. I think that cherry burl really makes everything just come together. For these boxes, we're going to use 2 different hinges. This one is just basically cheap nails going in the side, and it works great. The next thing we're going to do is put barrel hinges on the other box. All right, with these barrel hinges, that means the video's done. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, if you try something and you don't do it, try it again. You'll finally get good at it. I guarantee it. Don't run away yet. Got some glamour shots on the way. I truly appreciate you watching, subscribing, and until next video, stay cool.